Dungeons and Dragons. We are told stories of dream pastries, potions, tavern food of the Forgotten Realms. But what does it truly taste like? Well, with the help of the Player's Handbook and a few of the D&D cookbooks today, I am going to find out. Starting with a tavern meal from the 5e handbook. Overall, there's not a whole lot in the Player's Handbook about food and drink, but there is one section in the equipment portion of the book called Food, Drink, and Lodging, which gives us rough prices for individual food items that would be found at a tavern or an inn. I like to imagine my exhausted character returning from a long day of adventuring and ordering a loaf of bread, a hunk of cheese, and a chunk of meat, all washed down with a pitcher of wine. That is what I will be making. First, I'm going to start with the bread, which I think would be a rustic, crusty, fluffy loaf of bread, and we're gonna see if I can achieve that. To my mixing bowl, I'm going to add 1 1/4 cups of warm water, and then I also added some sugar to it. I just spilled a lot of it. Now I'm gonna check and see if the water is between 110 and 120, which is the safe temperature for yeast. Now this needs to sit in proof for like 5 minutes. As you can see, the yeast is bloomed, so it is time to add the flour. I'm going for a pretty shaggy dough, so I'm gonna start by adding 2 1/2 cups of bread flour. Mix that on low. The dough is still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna go ahead and add another 1/2 cup of bread flour. And at this point, I'm also gonna go ahead and add the salt, about a teaspoon, and then mix it again on low. That is getting everywhere. All right, so the dough is mixed up and nice and shaggy, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover this with a towel and let it rise in a warm area for about an hour or until it's doubled in size. I am moving on to the chunk of meat, which in my case is going to be a chicken of the Cornish variety. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a sweet and spicy sauce to go on top of these. Let's get started with the marinade. So I'm adding 1 tablespoon of ginger paste. I have some rice vinegar here. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of that. Sesame oil. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons. Some salt, we're gonna go with 1 teaspoon. Garlic paste, we're gonna do a tablespoon of that. That's probably about 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. Honey, 2 tablespoons. Onion powder, about a teaspoon. Cayenne, this one's optional if you don't want it to be super spicy, but I'm gonna go with 1/2 teaspoon. Some sake, we're gonna do a tablespoon. Okay. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons. Some black pepper. I'm gonna go with a 1/2 teaspoon. White pepper would be better, but if you have black pepper, it works as well. And then here I have some spicy chili crisp. I'm gonna go ahead and add about 1.5 tablespoons. And now I'm going to add some sun butter. If you're not allergic to peanuts, you can use peanut butter. And I'm going to do 1.5 tablespoons. And now I'm going to stir up that marinade. It's a little bit acidic, so I'm gonna add another tablespoon of honey. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cut my Cornish hens in half. They are still a little bit frozen, so we'll see how easy this is. There we go. Oh yeah, that worked better than I thought it was going to. Okay. Now it's time to marinate. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the bag. I'm going to also add the marinade in as well. And when I zip it up, I'm gonna make sure I get out as much air as I can. So it's just chicken and marinade. Now I'm going to set this aside and let it soak for at least 30 minutes. Here I have the flour. It has risen and about doubled in size. I'm going to go ahead and flour my clean work surface. Hello. So I'm going to pull the corners in. I'm going to flip it over seam side down and pull it towards me to make it round. I have a greased bowl that I'm going to place my dough ball into, and then I'm going to cover and let it rise for another 30 minutes. The dough has risen a second time. It is about twice the size it was before, and I'm going to gently pour it out onto some parchment paper. And I have a very hot pan here that I have been heating up in the oven. I hope the fire alarm doesn't go off. I'm going to gently put my dough in there like so, and then cover it back up. This is going to go in the oven and bake covered for about 30 minutes and then uncovered for 10. My Cornish hen here has been marinating for about an hour at this point. This chicken's gonna go into the oven until the internal temperature is 165, and every 10 minutes or so, I'm going to take it out of the oven and use the liquid to braise the chicken. I might also flip them halfway through. Next up for our tavern meal is a hunk of cheese. I will be making some baked brie. I'm gonna keep this pretty simple and start by scoring the brie. And all I'm gonna add to the top is some maple syrup. That is it, I'm just gonna put it in the oven. Our rustic tavern meal. We have our loaf of bread, we have our hunk of cheese, and our chunk of meat, as well as our pint of wine, AKA cranberry juice. All right, first, this is an unsharpened knife. It's not gonna work. It's just for the looks, okay?
Let's tear it.
The end is tippy. The end is pointy, but the rest of it is dull. Let's do a little cross section of this bread. Because this is how they did it in the olden days. They didn't have knives. Look at this. Beautiful.
Oh.
Very good. Time to wash it down with my kooksa of wine. It is time to try the chunk of meat. Woo! Delightful. I'm covered in juice.
Oh. Wow.
What? Good?
That is really good.
I know. All right, we need to stop eating so Kyla doesn't have to edit 40 minutes of footage.
I was bullshitting.
This is just us eating our dinner.
This chicken is fantastic.
5E, top notch. Perpetual stew is a common set piece in high fantasy and medieval settings, and surely it has appeared in even your adventuring party's travels. Perpetual stew is a real thing that you can actually make yourself. Let me read from the Wikipedia. Perpetual stew is a pot into which foodstuffs are placed and cooked continuously. The pot is never or rarely emptied. Such foods can continue cooking for decades or longer if properly maintained. Does anyone in the comments please let me know, do you have a perpetual stew or have you ever made perpetual stew in the past? I thought this was a perfect D&D-esque recipe to try out, and there is even a version of it in the Heroes Feast cookbook called Traveler's Stew. However, I will be making my own version of perpetual stew. I have my stew right here, as you can see. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna start by cooking up the meat a little bit. We have some chicken thigh. I picked chicken thigh because chicken thigh doesn't get super dry if you cook it extra, so I felt like it could be a good meat to be in a stew that is constantly cooking. I'm also gonna go ahead and add a little bit of flour just to help the browning process. This is cooked enough to my liking. I'm gonna go ahead and add an Oktoberfest Feist beer, or any dark beer will work. I'm also going to add in 2 cups of water and a cube of this beef bouillon. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. So now it's time to add all the vegetables. The vegetables I have here are all from my garden. I have an onion, a variety of peppers, most of which are shishito. I have these green tomatoes, which I believe are called green zebra tomatoes. I'm hoping because they're a bit more firm, they won't break down as much in the stew. I also have some patty pan squash and these really cool purple potatoes. All right, I'm going to bring up the heat a little bit, and I might also add a little bit more water. While this is simmering, I'm gonna go ahead and add in a few more spices. I'm gonna add another bouillon cube, onion powder, and some smoked paprika, as well as a bit more salt. Here we have the perpetual stew. It is a very pale looking stew, I will say. Let's give this a taste.
Very steamy.
It is a little steamy. It's hot.
Guess I'll wait.
Most of the contents of that soup have turned to mush after being slowly simmered for almost 3 hours. I'm not mad about it. There is still a bit of texture to it. The chicken, for example, has maintained its texture. And because I used chicken thigh, it didn't get super tough and chewy.
I think it's yummy.
Yeah.
And having it simmer in our kitchen for like 3 hours was really cozy feeling.
It did smell really good, especially with that smoked paprika. It's really good, honestly. The Wood Elf Forest Salad. And I bet you're wondering,
Why'd you pick this recipe?
it's because of the pretty flowers. From the cookbook, this is described as a bountiful, verdant mix brimming with sharp accents and crisp textures. I'm growing some in my garden, so now I can put them to use. Let's make it. First things first, I've got to grate some zest into the salad bowl. It smells really good. We have the zest of the lemon, now the orange. Next, I have to finely chop up a shallot. I'm also gonna add 2 teaspoons of the lemon juice. Yum. Apple cider vinegar, honey, salt, and some pepper. Now I'm going to whisk these together, and then I'm gonna set this aside and let the flavors just kind of soak into each other. While we're waiting on that, I'm gonna go ahead and shred these. I am going to go against the recipe a little bit because I need a bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and add these Brussels sprouts, but I'm not going to toss them yet. I'm just gonna set them in there. I'm going to finely chop a bundle of chives. Now I also have to add radicchio. Is that how you say it? It's the purple cabbage. I couldn't find any just radicchio. So I got a salad pack that also has some in it, and I'm just gonna pick it out. I have this orange and I have to cut it up as a little garnish. Basically, I just have to remove the pith and cut it into small little pieces. All right, so I am just now reading in the recipe that I have to emulsify the dressing that is at the bottom of this bowl. So I have to take out all the Brussels sprouts. I had assumed it was optional to let that stuff at the bottom sit and soak, but no.
I am going to go against the recipe a little bit.
All right, we're adding 1/4 cup of the olive oil, and then I have to whisk this vigorously. I will say it is not quite emulsified, but it is emulsified enough. Mistakes were made, I agree. However, I don't think it's going to affect the flavor very much. I was supposed to add the radicchio and the chives afterwards. Guys, oh my God, I'm just a mess. We're just adding it all, okay? In the end, it is I who must eat this salad, not you. So I will suffer the consequences. Now this has to sit for 30 minutes to soften.
A few 20 minutes later.
I have all my ingredients and it's time to plate. My freshly picked edible flowers, I found some violets, some borage, which these taste like cucumbers. And then these orange ones, I'm pretty sure are marigold. I forget though. Beautiful. We're out of forks, so we're using leaf spoons. I got a flower on mine. Drew got 2. The zest is so good.
It's very bright and fresh, and the Brussels sprouts are unexpected, but welcome. I want to eat that big orange flower.
How was it?
Doesn't really taste like much, but salad was nice.
Yeah.
Very fresh, very floral.
I did mess up a couple times, but we won't talk about that.
How did you mess up a salad?
We're moving on to my favorite D&D lore dish, which is dream pastries. They're introduced in the Curse of Strahd, where the hag Morgantha where the hag Morgantha is disguised as a little old granny. Why can't I talk? The hag Morgantha is disguised as a little old granny, and she has this little cart full of pastries, and she's disguised as a little old granny, and she goes door to door selling her mincemeat pies. These pies are addictive, and anybody that eats them experiences bliss. And when they can no longer afford to buy the mincemeat pies, Morgantha has a little proposition. She's like,
Hey, I'll trade mincemeat pies
for your children.
And the adults, being addicted to the mincemeat pies, trade their children for the mincemeat pies. Now, did you know there's a little special ingredient in these mincemeat pies, and that is the bones of children. Yes, the children that are traded for the pies. Their bones are ground up and put into the pies. Hags are just weird like that. This is a pretty dark story, but it is very interesting in my opinion. Now, I do not have the bones of children in my spice cabinet, so I'm gonna have to find a substitute. And my substitute for this recipe is going to be salt and MSG, because these two spices add that delicious, savory, and umami flavor that just elevates a dish and makes it so much better. This recipe does mainly utilize a stove, so we're gonna move over to my stove. One of the ingredients I've seen in traditional mincemeat is candied fruit peel. I wasn't able to find any at the store, so I'm gonna make my own. This might be a mistake because it looks like it's quite a long process. First, I'm gonna start by boiling it for about 15 minutes. We're basically trying to reduce the bitterness of the rind. So these have been boiling for about 10 minutes. I'm going to change out the water and then do it 2 more times. These just finished their 3rd boil. I'm going to empty the water and set the peels off to the side for now. I need a colander. Now I'm going to add I'm going to add 1 cup of water back to the pot, as well as 2 cups of sugar. And I'm gonna heat this up over medium heat until the sugar is fully dissolved. The syrup is melted and now simmering, so I'm gonna go ahead and add back in the peels. And these are gonna simmer in the pot for around 45 minutes until they become translucent. While the peels are simmering, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare everything else in my big pot. I've got some sun-dried raisins, some golden raisins, and also some currants. And I've got 1 1/4 pounds of finely chopped steak, as well as a can of red tart cherries. I did drain these as well. Now, a few of the recipes I saw said to use beef suet. However, I couldn't find that, so I'm going to be using lard instead. I'm gonna use about 1/2 cup. I'm also going to add 2 finely chopped tart apples. I opted for Granny Smith since Morgantha is also known as Granny when she's in her little disguise. I also have 2 1/4 cups of dark brown sugar. And finally, I'm going to add my children's bones, aka my spices. We have some ground ginger, some ground cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, salt, MSG, and allspice. The rinds are also done, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop those up and add it to the pot as well. Okay, they don't really want to easily chop up, so I'm just gonna add them in. Now I'm gonna simmer this entire pot for about 2 hours, stirring it every once in a while just to prevent burning on the bottom, and then we will make the pies. So this mincemeat has been cooking for approximately 2 hours, but it feels like a million years. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of this dark rum. For the pies, I'm just using a pre-made crust, and I'm going to use this cookie cutter to cut out little circles. And then I'm going to lay the crust in here, like so. Just kind of push it so that way it covers the entirety of this little muffin tin. I might actually size up on this. All right, I got 1 size up. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that is a little bit better. We're gonna stick with that. The pie crusts are complete, so I'm gonna fill them with the mincemeat and proceed to get it all over the pan, apparently. I still have so much more mincemeat. Guess more people that I can brainwash. For sealing up the tops, I'm going to do a lattice. I will say it is a little bit more difficult doing a lattice on these tiny little pies. I also made these little circle tops with a little hole cut out of the center. I have a little egg wash here that I'm going to brush the tops with. All that's left is to bake these and then create a cult. Mincemeat pies. I am definitely not a hag that is trying to brainwash an entire town to be in a cult. Mincemeat pie.
I want to eat it.
I'm gonna pick my favorite one, which is this one.
Kind of scared about theirs just being chopped up steak in what would be like a fruity filling. It's like exactly what I expected, but better than I hoped.
It is slightly reminiscent of the plum pudding that I made for the Stardew Valley video. It does have a lot of the same ingredients in it.
But then also steak.
And then there's also just like steak in there.
I don't hate it. I actually kind of like it. It's really heavy.
And you may be a little addicted to them, and if you don't eat them, you'll start to have nightmares.
Okay.
And a big thank you to the Everhearth Inn YouTube and Patreon members. If you are a member, you will get an exclusive extended version of this YouTube video, as well as many other YouTube videos and a lot of other really fun perks. So if you're not a member yet, go check that out. I will have all the links in the description below. So this next one is a little bit different, but I am excited to try it. It is a Dungeons & Dragons candy kit. Although I was sent this, it is not sponsored, and I will be giving my honest review. At the time of filming, they do have a Kickstarter going for not this kit, but a monsters kit, I believe. I will link it in the description below in case you want to check that out. All right, let's start with the most interesting looking box. I love this artwork. So I'm guessing that this leads to the, oh yeah, there we go, how-to guide. Then we have some fun ingredients. And these are the molds. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of these in there. Looks like a little pedestal. I'm not sure what that is. This is a D20, yeah, this is a D20. You can see the 20 in there. Oh, this is a dragon egg. I'm not really sure what this one is. We're gonna try them all though. Yes! Oh my God. An entire set of dice. Exciting. And then we have a whole nother thing. Oh my God. A dragon! Yes! Okay, we got a dragon head. Very excited for that one. This is a little coin, I'm guessing. An even bigger D20, holy shit. There's the medium one, I guess. I thought this was the big one. This is huge. Wow. These little rubber bands are to keep it closed on the score, so that way nothing leaks out of the side here in case this were to come cracked. I'm not sure. It looks like a monster or something that looks like feet. Oh, this looks like a dragon, like a laying down dragon, because you see the wings. And then it's holding a dice. And that's it for this box. Now I have this black box. Ooh, okay, so more ingredients. So this, oh, a little spatula. Wow, this comes with everything. It's nice that I don't have to source all these ingredients, I will say. Nice. And then one more bag. Starburst Jello. Regular Starburst, watermelon, Skittles. Oh yeah, what is this? Is this Jello mix? Oh yeah, it's just Jello, but like Skittles flavor. That is a lot of stuff. We have all these molds. We got lots of different things. I'm gonna start with the Jello recipe, and I have to pick my favorite. I think I'm gonna go with the watermelon. So I'm following the YouTube video tutorial. We'll see how it goes. Half a cup of water. Now 1/4 a cup of the corn syrup. Just put that in there. 1 pack of jelly. Ooh. 2 packs of gelatin. There's already gelatin in there, but I'm guessing we're just making it extra firm. So now I have to boil this for 5 minutes. So I want to do 1 large one. So I'm very excited to use the dragon head, so I'm gonna do that. And then I think I'll also do the set of 7 dice. So those will be my jelly, or should I save those for the chocolates? Yeah, I'm gonna save them for the chocolates. I'm gonna do this mystery square from earlier and the medium D20. And then also the dragon egg. We'll do those. This smells really good. I have a little sheet pan here so I don't spill this candy all over my table. And I have all of these rubber bands lined up so the seams are as seamless as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and add the liquid. I've transferred these to a plate, and now I will put them in the fridge for 2 hours. Moving on to the recipe for the simple mix, I picked out the largest D20, what I believe is the dragon holding a D20, mystery cube, and then this one I think is a guy. So they basically said to just follow the instructions on the back of this. So I'm adding 1/3 cup of water. Oh my God, it's like a cauldron. Let this sit for 5 minutes. In their video, they seemingly added a little bit of honey, so I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I'm gonna have quite as much as I did of the green stuff, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fill all these. I want to use every single mold, so if I don't have enough, I'll just make some more. All right, we're nice and dissolved here. I'm gonna go ahead and add this to the big D20. I only have a little bit left, so I'm gonna add it to one of these smaller molds. So I wasn't able to fill this other really big mold, but these ones are all full, so I'm gonna go ahead and transfer these to the fridge, and then we'll move on to the chocolate. The chocolate recipe is just melted chocolate, so I went ahead and microwaved it, and it is nice and melted. And I have one of the provided piping bags that I'm gonna go ahead and add it to. I have my remaining molds here as well, and I'm gonna try to fill as many as I can. So the chocolate's a little thicker, and these sticks were provided. I'm wondering if they are to shove the chocolate down in there like this. Yeah, that's working a lot better. I'm getting it in all those little crevices there. The tops are overflowing a little bit. I will deal with that in a second. All right, I have acquired a little icing scraper. I'm just going to lightly go across the top here just to level everything out. And I'm gonna do the same with the coin. Now these are going into the fridge to set as well, and then I will be back with all the molds and we'll see if we can get everything out of there.
One eternity later.
Ooh, I'm gonna start with the dragon head. So this is the Starburst watermelon mix that I used. It's coming undone pretty easily. Oh yeah. Oh my God, it's coming out so easily. Yes. Look at that. That is a work of art. That came out really easily. Wow. Now I want to do the big D20. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let's try. How am I gonna get this thing out of here? Yes, yes. Look at that. So the bubbles, it's because I poured it in like really thick and fast. The way to get rid of like these bubbles here is you pour a really thin stream from high up, and that can tend to help with the bubbles more. The mold itself is smooth and bubble free on the faces that I can tell at least. Now we have some more mysterious ones that I don't remember what they're supposed to be. Look at the little dragon egg. All right, now we have another green one. I think this is, yeah, this is the D20, the medium-sized D20. Beautiful. This is so fun. Oh, here's the guy. It looks like it's a little owl bear or an owlkin, or I forget what the owl race is called, but... And he stands up too! I love that it just kind of stays. This is one of the mystery ones. It's a mimic! That's cool. The mystery cube. Is it a gelatinous cube? I'm not completely sure what this is supposed to be, but I think it's supposed to be a gelatinous cube. And here are all the gummies. I can just shake them around and they just kind of stay. I should roll this D20 and see what I get. An 11. Let's do that again. A 2. I have a new plate out. I'm going to start with the easiest one, which is the coin. Oh yeah. Oh, there is a score in this one. Okay. Oh my God. This has more detail than I thought it did. Okay, trying really hard not to crack this. Wow, I am a chocolatier. So these little pockets here, that's from me not getting the chocolate in those little crevasses, which is what that white stick was for. So ignore those. I didn't realize that it had all those different kinds of dice. This dragon's got a hoard going on here. And I'm about to add some more to it with this. Ooh, D4. D20, the D12, we got a D6, got the D10, and the D100, and then D8. Yeah, D8. You could just straight up play D&D with these chocolate dice. I'm bringing them to my next session. So this is just straight up chocolate. So I know what it's gonna taste like. Chocolate. I feel like it would be pretty fun to roll a natural 1 and then proceed to eat your D20 instead of put it in dice jail. Now, these dice are not as easy to roll, but let's give it a little taste. The texture is on point. I will say though, it's not like super flavorful. Maybe adding like additional flavor syrup would probably be good. But having those boxes of Jell-O are pretty convenient, so for what it is, it's really good. Now I'm gonna try the giant D20. I feel like this is one of those ASMR eating videos that you find on TikTok where a girl's like hunched over her room microphone and like biting into things that she shouldn't be able to eat. And I'm not mad about it. I like the flavor of this one. The texture is a bit closer to Jell-O than like the green ones were, for example. It's still really good. I have in the past done resin in silicone molds, but those come out rock hard. So this is my first time doing like food in silicone molds, especially gummies like this. And everything came out perfect. If you're interested in supporting 3D Food Company and checking out this kit for yourself, I will link in the description below. What do you think?
It's like chewy or Jell-O.
This would not be a true D&D recipe video if I did not make a potion. So I'm picking one from the Puncheons and Flagons cookbook. Puncheons and Flagoons. I don't think I've ever said that word out loud, so I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Flagon? That's gotta be right.
Flagon.
Now there are a lot of really interesting recipes in here, including the ogre toe. I have made that one before, check out the TikTok for that. But one in particular really caught my eye, and that is the fairy fire. Reason being, it's got a lot of really cool ingredients. It has popping boba, delicious, pop rocks, delicious, rock candy, meh, and edible glitter. For this recipe, I will actually be making rock candy from scratch because for some reason, the only option I had was to buy it in bulk from Amazon, and I really do not want 20 rock candies when I don't really enjoy them very much. So I'm gonna make some from scratch. Here is how I made the rock candy. So first I had to coat some little popsicle stick things in sugar and let them dry. While they were drying, I went ahead and made the sugar mixture, which was 4 cups of water and 10 cups of granulated sugar, heated up and dissolved. That was a lot of sugar, let me tell you. I don't think I've ever used that much sugar at a time, but I had to do it for this recipe. Then I had some mason jars, which I separated the sugar mixture into, and I added some food coloring as well. Next, I took my little sugar sticks and using a chip clip, I balanced it on the rim of the mason jar. And the next step was just to wait. This recipe suggested letting these crystals form over the course of 6 to 7 days. I let mine sit for around 3.5, so not quite as much time as I would have liked, but let's see how they turned out. Okay, I need to break open the top. Okay, that's pretty good. These next two are a little bit of a mystery since the dye was so dark. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on in there. Oh, that's pretty cool. And now our final little one. Oh, that one looks good too. I think this was a success. We're making fairy fire. I believe this is supposed to be kind of a form of a tiki drink. It does include something called falernum, which I was unable to find. Reading online, apparently it's very important to include it in tiki drinks because it has a very unique flavor and there is no substitute for it. That sucks because I don't have falernum, nor do I have any close substitute. So we're just gonna go without it. Hopefully it still tastes good. Come on over here, we're gonna add everything to the punch bowl. First up, I will be adding the rum. We have 6 ounces of white rum and 3 ounces of dark rum. I'm not really sure which side of this is 1 ounce, so I'm gonna assume this side is 1 ounce. I feel like I don't need to make an entire punch bowl of this drink, but I feel like it's gonna be fun. Next up, the juices. I'll be adding lemon juice, pineapple juice, and orange juice. Here I have hibiscus tea that I have brewed as well, and then simple syrup, which I have made. Now, normally this is where I would add falernum, which is a crucial ingredient to this recipe. However, I was dumb and did not get any. But maybe this will make up for it because I'm gonna add some edible glitter. Actually, I'm gonna add some ice to this punch bowl. I'm going to get the rim wet with lemon. Oh shit. Okay, they're exploding everywhere. All right, this is the best that we got. The Pop Rocks on this look so sad. First, I'm gonna add the popping boba, if I can figure out how to open this jar. I'm gonna start by putting a heaping spoonful of popping boba into the jar. Oh yeah. Now we have our beautiful drink, iridescent. My ladle is dirty, so I have this spoon. Oh yeah. Now I think I want to add this pink one because it matches the best. I am going to cut off a little bit of this stem just to, aesthetics wise, make it look good. And there we go. It's not as strong as I thought it was going to be. It's not bad. And I realized that I can't really get to the popping boba without a straw, so I'm going to scoop it out. Popping boba automatically makes everything really delicious. This is the most fun drink I have ever made. I wish the Pop Rocks would have stuck to the top a little bit better. I'm not sure what the problem was there. 10 out of 10. Cool factor. Plus now I can cast fairy fire. That is all of the recipes. Thank you so much for 25,000 subscribers. We really love the support and we love making these videos, and I can't wait to make more and more and more. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you after your next quest, adventurer.
You woke up and chose violence.
Shut the fuck up.